Set on up. Okay, Rumble is going. YouTube still booting up. Twitch is booted on up. X is booted on up. And we got YouTube going on up. Looks like everything's going up. Time to activate the chat windows. Need that one to manually activate. There we go. The live chats should be online now. Swap over my hotkeys. Yep, it is. So I can move around the next turn in my preferred manner. And yeah, time to check my other computer. And looks like everything's good to go. Couple things are in preference. I've been trying to fix the sound issues, and I think I switched to a different extension viewer. Additionally, I've been perusing some other plugins as well, so now I'm using a plugin to reduce anti-aliasing in the game, which hopefully it goes nice. You can see the map itself still is affected by the little bit blurred anti-aliasing, but the individual structures that get changed or properties get captured, decaptured in the units also are not affected by anti-aliasing, so it makes them pop out. Reminds me of old-fashioned cartoons. The stuff in the background are not in focus while other things in front are focused. So let's go and get started. Greetings everyone, and great here for another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side as Yellow Comet Grim. Well, Yellow Comet, yeah, Grim. We got Grim guys. Spawn on the north side as the Black Hole Adder. We got Verd James 5. Grim, of course, is the Glass Cannon CO. All units get plus 30% attack, loses minus 20% defense, and usually he does better versus other higher tier COs, and does worse versus lower COs, which tend to be more the movement COs, such as Adder. Because when units are, if he's managed to not get punched in the face, how to put it? He can't take a hit, but he can sure dish out a punch. So in other words, they're both equally can't make walls. And of course is the standard movement CO. I'm just going to move this CO chart over off the side in case I need to pull that up. Either way, let's actually get started. This map is a triple base map. Both players start off with 2. Got an airport and comm tower in the little ocean. So we're going to have to see a lander or black boat likely in order to get them down south. A lander wouldn't be half bad, help push units up in the center, but of course landers are expensive. Black boats, not as much, but they're still pretty expensive. Adder goes for an early artillery piece. That's interesting. And Grim guy goes for an artillery piece. Okay. Grim artillery will hit very hard. Grim units will see quite a bit of damage from artillery. I have no idea what I'm going to expect. Grim guy is a favorite among the community. He is an incredibly good player, incredibly highly rated player, playing Grim. Got another tank. Got 2 artillery pieces out by Adder. I sort of don't like that. Because Grim, you generally have to be mobile. If you're mobile, you can do some good damage for Grim. I think it's better to go for tanks against Grim. We do have, of course, this artillery piece here zoning out around the city. This infantry unit cannot sprint to the city because it will consume 2 movement to get around forward on the mountain. So this artillery piece is in a very good position, but he can interrupt it. But losing infantry units to an artillery piece is not a horrible thing, especially when it stops a flip. Adder does have more income at the moment. Got now some tanks being pulled in the field, more artillery pushing down south. Artillery piece puts a nice bit of rounds in that infantry unit. 4 stars defense doesn't mean much when your opponent has a 3-star or a 30% increased firepower artillery piece. We got multiple tanks, 4 tanks deployed by Grim. Adder currently has just 2. And it's probably better for Grim to go for tanks for the high mobility, but artillery are cheaper. And there is a decent number of mountains. As much as been ragging on artillery this game, this map does have a decent amount of mountains for them to fire behind. So it's not a horrible idea to deploy them out, but I just don't think they're a great thing to deploy out with Grim on the field, except when you're playing Adder. I think both players should just eye for mobility and tanks. Of course, I wasn't really paying close attention to how much fundings they had at the moment and what they decided to spend. That could also influence what happened. Got double tank by Grim. Grim has a good number of tanks, 6 tanks in the field, while Adder right now just has 4. 19 versus 17 at the moment, 1,000 income. Interrupts a capture. Infantry unit only interrupted by 1 turn, only got 5 damage on that infantry unit. This infantry unit probably get on the shore and get a good strike there, but will probably die to artillery. Let's see what Grim does. Further interrupts that capture by another 6 turns. Takes out that unit, decides to avoid the artillery fire, so stops some capture. Will probably be retaliated by more infantry. No tank would do now the black boat there. So it looks like Grim's gonna be eyeing for his airport. His battlecopters should be very effective as well, since he's not limited to any sort of unit deployment. Then it's probably best for him to get mobile stuff. Infantry unit does get 1 shot by the artillery piece. Good shots there. He could try merging those 2 infantry units if he so chooses. And tank infantry. Artillery piece here may want to get on top of this missile silo platform. Does nuke out an infantry unit there. Will force him to push forward with another infantry unit there to further interrupt the capture. And then the artillery piece will get another kill. But of course, infantry units are cheap. The biggest thing though is just simply base production. With 3 bases, we'll probably see less battlecopters, but Grim should probably get a good number of battlecopters on the field. At this point in time, comm towers doesn't really matter because not like any side can really withstand each other's blows. It will help, don't get me wrong, but not critical. Got a nice line of tanks there. 5 tanks, 2 artillery pieces there, so Grim can't just simply charge forward, put some holes in these tanks, because with the 2 artillery pieces there, his tank assault will fail. This is quite a bit of assets there by Adder. This is more or less the weak side, since this side is the strong side, so Adder does have a strong weak side. That's an oxymoron, if I've ever known an oxymoron. Multiple 1 health infantries, that can be handy to keep alive and continue their suffering. And Grim goes for Neo tank. What? Okay. Yeah. I don't know if a Grim Neo tank's a great asset this time. Neo tanks are strong. It will nuke everything in 1 shot, but that is quite of an expense. He's almost got the airport. Doesn't have that available just yet. Another 2 turns before he can pull out a single battlecopter. Finish off some of these outlying infantry units there. But this, let's see, this tank is out of range, but these two tanks are in range. These two tanks are in range. But the thing as well, the artillery pieces can't be reached. It'll take two of these tanks to take out that one tank. So you can't reach the artillery piece from this side, and with only two tanks in range, you can't really reach the artillery piece from this side as well. But he should probably start up some tanks over here. Got a number of tanks here. He does have a number of tanks here. The Neo tank will probably be sent to the center of the map. Or you can rotate all these light tanks, go over here, and send the Neo tank to capture the left side of the map. A lot of things he can do. He does put the artillery piece behind on top of the missile silo to get in better defense position. It'd be hard to displace that. Neo tank just heads up north, so he can still rotate either left or right. It does slow itself down if he wants to go to the right, because it's going to have to go through a couple forests here. But he may try to smash the left flank. Let him take some hits over here. Because he's about to get battlecopter production. We do have anti-air down here, so Adder does blow out anti-air by the time the battlecopter gets here, which is good. Does pop the power there, so now we've got the +1 range for Adder, with, of course, +10 with offensive defense. No comm tower here, so, but both players, let's see how well this goes. +1 range is very nice. Does not manage, will manage to range the artillery piece. Machine guns it a little bit there. In fact, he knocks it out. 1 health's not much left there. And there's only 3 light tanks here, and there's a lot of Adder tanks here. This tank can range these tanks. The extra 10% will be useful. We could see a Knuckle Duster to help him punch forward. Do not have a Neo tank to counter the Neo tank that's flank. So Grim guy has a pretty good flank over here, but he's getting crushed on his strong flank. Yeah, battlecopters would be useful. If he possible, get around in the anti-air at least. Goes to the comm tower. Battlecopter deploys that immediately. He knows he needs a battlecopter. Let's see, he's at 17,000, so can still get 2 regular tanks. Pushing on the flank over here. Decides to not go for Knuckle Duster. Neo tank has sent the map. Grim has a pretty good strength over here, but Adder has there. Somehow the both players can push their opponent's strong side. Goes back to the artillery piece. 1 health artillery piece won't do much. But with Grim's ludicrous firepower could be useful. Still, we do also have now a medium tank here. That can help him equalize the region, a bit of a tech up, and since he doesn't have to go too far out, it can help him ward away all these tanks, so he has to be careful with the artillery pieces, plus minus 20% defense. I'm curious, how much or how little can a Grim medium tank take? Let's just say he's on the plains. Okay. The counterattack almost one-shots it. It actually has a chance of one-shotting the counterattack. Jeez. Ah, Grim. I also always forget as well, this is not Days of Ruin. Days of Ruin, the selfless medium tanks are a lot more fragile, but of course they're cheaper as well. The gap between the tank tiers is reduced, which I do like that aspect of Days of Ruin. Another medium tank, Mech Infantry. Mech is useful for Adder since he does have +1 movement range or +2 movement range. So it looks like Grim deploying that medium tank did ward back everything here, but he could try doing a front switch. There is a couple choke points he still have to be careful of. But he may decide to front switch and surround this force here. Of course, one way you can prevent yourself from being flanked is by charging forward, because it's hard to be flanked if you're just charging. So it could be elastic defense as a term. Grim still, of course, has his Knuckle Duster. It's very rare you want to pop a Haymaker as in Grim, because you generally just only need plus. Let's see, does this put his firepower up to what was it? Does it increases up to plus 50%, so it gives plus 20% additional firepower. Of course, plus activating CEO power gives you plus 10, plus 10. But sometimes that's just all you need. And plus 50% firepower, plus 10, plus 10 if you include that. Plus 60% firepower, sometimes it's just all you need, because that firepower can get to ludicrous levels. He did that for his power, so let's see how his power is going to go. He's trying to... him charging forward like this will also neuter Grimm's counterattack and his power by wounding everything. Allows his Neo Tank to one-shot on that tank. Medium Tank will quickly reinforce. Does also separate the Neo Tank. Neo Tank's now cut off. He decides to fully encircle the Neo Tank and puts 2 artillery pieces in range of the Neo Tank. And Black Boat's ships don't take too much damage from other sources. And there's only 2 possible Grim Tank firing spots there, not to mention all the regular tanks nearby. He could try popping a Knuckle Dust Haymaker. How much does a Knuckle or Haymaker Neo Tank does to a lander or a Black Boat? I have no idea. Wait. Without a power or superpower, he one-shots it. Grim. He has a poor roll, a abysmal luck roll for not to one-shot a Black Boat. Wait, that's versus Neo Tank. Whoops. Wait, he can one-shot. He can one-shot opposing Grim Neo Tank. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. With power, does 72%. With Haymaker, does not one-shot a Black Boat. Whoops. Takes out the tank there. Probably could have done more damage to Black Boat, but it's not really necessary. His flank over here will cover. Clean up some of these outlying units. Maybe I'll flip some properties. Decides not to... probably a good idea not to try to go flip after all those 2 tanks there. Finish off that tank there. Neo Tank there. Medium Tank. Infantry. Adder only has the 1 anti-air way up here, if I'm... Yep, if I spot correctly. He did sack his anti-air on this Neo Tank, but that, of course, now allowed him to take out the Neo Tank with 2 artillery strikes there. But of course, this Grim Battlecopters now have free reign on some of the map until these guys get forward. You can simply just focus on the left side of the map, let the anti-air slowly crawl their way forward. Just probably stay out of range of a side slip Battlecopter. Tank, infantry, and of course the Battlecopter. I think we may see a Knuckle Duster this turn. Let's find out. Looks like I'm not going to see Knuckle Duster. Get some great strikes there. Infantry, artillery, anti-air. Adder does have 2 Battlecopters. He can bring a side slip this turn. Let's see what it does. He pops up a side slip once again, which will of course give him +10/+10 as well as +1 movement range. Takes out Grim's Battlecopter. Artillery pieces fall back 2 properties. Takes out the Battlecopter there. Right now, Grim has 108 on the field versus 126, so it's going very much in favor of Adder. Trying to threaten multiple properties. Somehow Grim got that property there. Of course, Adder did the same. But he may be too far forward. Okay, the Grim medium tank's out of range of the Neo Tank, or as was artillery piece. pops the Haymaker. This might be a little bit of desperate Haymaker. He may be trying to use it to stabilize the game because he's pretty far behind. He's at 150,000 versus 106. Of course, it still has day-to-day. Needs to stabilize the area. And does cast Resign there. Adder's constant extra mobility was very useful, just allowing him to range Grim. This is why Grim has trouble with COs with movement boosting powers. He's just more of an inverse the rankings when it comes to fighting by him and against him. Either way, this is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Let's see, delete this one. Something seemed off about that sound. One moment. Okay, there we go. Now time to adjust the window. Let's see. Seems quite reasonable right now. Yep, looks like at the top and bottom of the map. I think everything's good. So let's get started. Greetings everyone, Angrade here for another Advance Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side as the Teal Cosmos, Teal Galaxy Hawk. We got Bartman 7474. Spawn on the north side as the Black Hole Adder. We got Tesla 246. Let's go ahead and get started. This map has a large amount of 3-star not properties, but terrain with a lot of missile silos, a line of 4 missile silos, next to a little inland beach. This also map does support a strong versus weak side mechanic. Got 2 bases here, 1 base here. Of course, we do also have a airport on both sides, which does support the weak side, but can always be sent to the strong side. Additionally, the weak side does also have a number of mountains next to the HQ, so it's good for artillery and potentially rockets. Help defend that region. There is a decent number of mountains on this map, so indirects do have just cover. Of course, no concealment. This is not Fog of War. Adder has now deployed out a tank. Hawk right now only has infantry. He does pull out a tank to counter out Adder's tank. Another tank. Infantry. Artillery. Double artillery by Hawk. Hawk does have plus 10% firepower day to day. Adder has none. Also, Adder's superpower is equal cost to Adder's regular power. Hawk does place his artillery piece in range of the city to protect it. Got multiple tanks here by Adder. He can focus on one infantry unit, but he probably won't break forward any further to reach the tank or the artillery piece, so a good wall there by Hawk. It looks like Adder's going to send a tank over the left flank, or maybe the middle flank. Adder's now going to try to entrench himself with some artillery piece here. Does the same with this artillery piece. Of course, this map may not be half bad rockets, since it help him range away these artillery pieces beyond the mountains. And there's also a decent amount of roads to get to. There's actually a road going, I include properties when it comes to this sort of thing. There's easy traversement for wheeled vehicles to get all the way to your opponent's side of the map. Excuse me. We've got a number of mechs being employed by Adder. Adder can use mechs with his power and superpower. They do get +1 movement range. Bit of tank conflict in the center. So, Adder's turn. Got an artillery piece, but not in range. Hawk does have 3 tanks this region. This tank can reach all the way through way over here. Adder may need to fall back for stuff. Does get a strike there, counterattacks. We'll take out that tank there. Brings our 2 artillery pieces there. Does wall in the artillery piece. Now Hawk will have to go through quite a bit of number of units to reach the artillery. And we do also now have some battlecopters being deployed in the field. Hawk does not have it here. He does have a battlecopter counter the battlecopter, so he's going to need to send this center to counter the battlecopter. Does get a good strike on the infantry unit. Picks it off. Tank is going to range of artillery piece. Knocks one out. Removes another one from the existing. Infantry unit does machine gun this artillery piece a little bit there. And some other units there. Hawk is just charging straight in the center of the map. It's going to get very messy very quick. Adder does have a good number of artillery pieces here. This one will only able to range 8 HP infantry, but this one's able to range tanks. This one here can only range infantry, can't range any tanks. Got now a battlecopter anti-air recon and infantry. Just probably wants a mobile asset to help support this capability. Fast mobile, able to reach this point inside the map. This map, it may be a good map for a force recon in order to storm forward, provide some mobile support for his assault. Something to help just reinforce the front line even more quickly than tanks. Artillery does strike one of the tanks there. Battlecopter takes out that wounded tank. Maybe better to put a round into this healthier tank. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. One shot it. And also maybe better to try to machine gun down that artillery piece. But does get some good damage there. Interrupts the capture. Side slip is available, so you can start prepping for a side slip. You may get a superpower next turn. Remember that chart build that right now that is similar NG. One has 27,600. This one Hawk has 29,000. So Adder may get a superpower next turn, which could be very useful. Maybe could I just go for regular power? He's going to have to map out and see what exactly he needs. Let's take out the artillery piece there. Battlecopter and battlecopter. If there's enough units that have 1 HP damage for Hawk, it may be a good idea for him to pop his regular power. It'll also help dull Adder's advance. Adder could deploy out a superpower next turn. Just needs another 400 funds of damage. Which does get it right there. It does pop. Actually, no, it doesn't pop his superpower. It just pops his regular power. Not like he was able to get any more additional power charge. So, does take out one of the Hawk artillery pieces. Tank effectively knocked out. 2 of HP tank does finish off. Battlecopter strikes or anti-air strikes the battlecopter. Battlecopter quickly reinforcing forward. Another battlecopter by Adder. Anti-air infantry. Adder may be able to deploy his superpower this turn, depending how it goes. Recon gets a good strike in the artillery piece. And tank takes a swipe at the battlecopter and does actually get off, even with plus 10% defense. Both players do have 1 comm tower. Yeah, it's probably won't be able to get superpower. Right now, Hawk does actually have 84,000 field versus Adder 70. So Hawk's doing very well this game, but it's the day-to-day income difference is always important. Pops a follow-up side slip. Looks like Adder's gonna just try to close the game immediately. And Hawk gets a superpower. Probably would very likely will pop it immediately. There are some cases where you want to pop it a little bit later to get a little bit of health regen on some little skirmishes. Let's see. Will he pop immediately? Likely he will. Likely he will. Likely he will. There we go. Black Storm activated. This will call Adder down to 63,000. Hawk right now has 63,000 as well. Only have a 300 unit fund advantage on the field. Of course, Adder does, and Hawk both a bit of fun stored on up. Adder may have skimped a little bit there to reduce this follow-up repair. And now this battle cup to get up to 4 health, very nice. Provide a little more fire support. Probably could have been a bit more aggressive strike on these artillery pieces. And not too many follow-up strikes there. Why would he do that? He sacks the infantry unit there on that tank. I still don't understand why he would sack infantry unit on that tank. He does take out get some good kills there. Tank. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Let's see now. Adder ends turn 76,000. Hawk starts turn with 65. So it's back to down to day-to-day differences. Machine guns down the anti-air. Good strike there on the artillery piece. Another side slip available. It's probably better go for side slip unless he really needs +2 movement range. Nice thing as well is you can get some initial engagements, get some power charge, and then you have almost enough for another side slip. Let's see what he does. And I also about to sneeze. My apologies. Pops on the side slip immediately. Let's see what goes on. A lot of good infantry engagement there. Battlecopter strikes the battlecopter. Battlecopter strikes the battlecopter. Tank on artillery. Got a number of Hawk artillery pieces here. We'll see. Well, I hope he can range this artillery piece. If this does get cleaned on up, now the mech can strike the artillery piece. Tank, infantry. Adder starts to turn, ends the turn of 77. Hawk starts to turn of 60. Battlecopter and battlecopter. Some good strikes on the left flank. Battlecopter, tank. So far, the front lines have been colliding for quite a time, but it feels like Adder is starting to pull ahead. Even though he has less funds on the field, I just see a lot more assets here. Plus, his cheaper mechs are actually getting the range and doing some work. Mechs are effectively anti-everything, they just get countered by everything. My best way to put it. Mech gets a strike from the mountain onto a tank. That is a dream that most people are unable to fulfill each day. Or each month. A lot of Hawk stuff starting going down there. He does have a tank and battlecopter here. Battlecopter. Hawk could pop his Black Wave this turn. Right now he's at 52. Adder's at 79. But I don't think he's able to range this battlecopter whatsoever. He has to take out 2 of these units somewhere, which it is possible. After all, a Hawk tank versus a recon here will get one-shotted. Does not need the Black Wave for that. Oh, he finds another way to do it. And then I was thinking this tank can strike that recon. And this tank can still strike this other tank. Of course, anti-air is in range of that battlecopter. Battlecopter infantry, tank infantry. Pops another power side slip. Probably made for the +10/+10, but plus movement range is always quite nice. Recon charts way forward. Doesn't one-shot the infantry unit there. I wonder. Sorry, I'm pulling this up quite a bit. Not an RNG. Does take out the tank there. Infantry unit getting gunned down. Does get some great strikes over here. We now have a superpower available for Hawk. Does pop the superpower immediately. And let's see now. Which also reduce the defense on these units. These battlecraft I think are 1% health as well, so infantry unit can just simply gun them down if needed. Does get some good strikes here. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, recon. Does not take out that tank there. Infantry unit does gun it down. Then emerge there. Tank, infantry, infantry. Hawk's down to 48,000. Adders at 64. So Hawk's a little bit in trouble, starting to fall behind. But it is his turn, of course. Gets some pretty good picks there. There's some of these outlying units there. This anti-air still poses a threat. Hawk does have a number of recons for fire support here. But one of these battlecopters will go down next turn. Does go for anti-air, tank, infantry. Battlecopter, artillery, infantry, mech. Anti-air does go down. Anti-air push way forward. This flank is a little bit stale, but I think Hawk could push forward a little bit there. Try to pass threaten this property. Artillery piece in range though, or can be pushed into range. Hawk in terms of 73,000. Adder is at 62. Hawk did pull another battlecopter in the tank. Pops another side slip. Good strikes there. Anti-air. Artillery, mech. Not really a massive power. Battlecopter will strike battlecopter, but that plus 10% defense was useful there. Tank, tank, tank. And Adam looks like she's trying to fall back in this flank. He's ran out of steam. And looks like she's going to try to dig in a little bit here with mechs and artillery. Artillery, tank, tank. So it looks like Hawk's just falling back, getting reinforced as well. Adder is just rotating forward here, just creeping his way forward. Hawk has 98 versus 112. Of course, does day-to-day funds, so they're pretty even at the moment. It's amazing how this game is now going to a late game build or a build-up phase after when Hawk was knocked down to 45,000. Yeah, look at this, 113 versus 113. So this is just day-to-day changes, so their day-to-day income's both 19,000, so it'll be continually a day-to-day stalemate. Does interrupt the capture there. He has to interrupt the captures. Fully stops the capture. Battlecopter. Battlecopter or tank infantry. Get some strikes on some of these outlying units. Small picks. Hawk may need Eye of the Black Wave if there's a big conflict. Because right now, one global damage would wound his opponent quite a bit. Side slip is almost available. His next side slip costs 36,000 total. Anti-air. Hawk is being a bit more aggressive with his deployment there. Has a good core of tanks here. Adder does have a good number of artillery pieces here. Hawk does the mobile force. Adder does not with all those artillery. And looks like Adder's going to charge his way forward. May see the side slip. Will see the side slip. Now Hawk may receive a bit of beating here. Good damage there. Battlecopter infantry anti-air. Good strikes in those units. Was launched the Black Wave. Soften up everything, get a bit of health regen. Battlecopter strikes a battlecopter. Also gives him +10/+10 global. Stealth? Oof. How nasty. Adder does not have enough funds for a fighter. This is a problem for Adder. He could join some units together to get enough funds to get out a fighter, but this stealth has not only short range to get into conflict, definitely should stealth it on his first turn. Adder is going to be very far away from pulling out a counter fighter. This is not good for Adder with the stealth, but this is a massive investment. Hawk will have to really make the stealth worth it. Yep, stealth. No, you can't see it. Stealth. Recon infantry. Yep, there's a fun saving. He's saving for the fighter. Does camouflage there. Have to camouflage it or else it's vulnerable to anti-airs. I didn't realize this map can allow stealth. Most maps don't allow stealths. Good strikes there. Put some rounds of the artillery. No side slips available, but he knows where the stealth is. Tank infantry. I think the first thing Adder should do is just deploy out the fighter, because he needs to deploy that fighter out. Good shots there. Black Wave could be summoned next turn. Good strikes there. Takes the battlecopter. Adder has a good core of artillery pieces here on the field. Hawk starts to turn 70,000. Adder turns 99. Black Wave is possible, but he may be able to get a Black Storm this turn. But that is a lot of funds he still acquires. Does get some great strikes there. Pops the Black Wave. Whittles everything down. That's also drains some funds. Thinks that fighter. Also, he does have now some follow-up power charge there. Primes his next power probably at least halfway at minimum. Anti-air, tank, tank. Yep, he has halfway to his next black wave. And now we have another side slip, no superpower. Does get some good strikes there. Of course, a lot of Hawk's outlying units are taking some damage. Fighters closing on in. And Hawk does not have anything to really range the fighter. I wonder, how well does a Hawk stealth versus a fighter? Quite a bit of retaliation. Let's see, what happens if he activate his power? I think he needs to squeeze out Black Web and have a stealth attack the fighter at this point in time. Quite possibly, yeah. Nowhere near enough for a Black Wave. The Stealth can't push forward. He decides to wait it because it can't do anything with that nearby fighter. Stealths are also a bit of a double-edged sword since the counter is clear and cheaper. We do have a APC deployed over here, trying to probably send over the fight Stealth too soon. It does consume so much fuel. It right now is at 34. I think it like consumes a lot of fuel per turn. Does get spotted there. Is in range of the fighter right now. And there's the power as well. This would do a lot of damage. One-shots it. Now the fighter's a little bit dead weight. But of course can be used to deny further battlecraft deployment. One thing this fighter could do, since it's not going to be very useful, it has a lot of fuel it has. One thing it could do is dodge anti-airs and try to get through this tile right here. Then it can camp the airport. Then again, that anti-air was in range and gets a good strike there. So the fighter is effectively knocked out. But it's done its job. Black Wave can be summoned once again. I don't think we'll see it this turn. Tank infantry. Now he also has a EPC that's going to be marginally useful. I think it'd be a good idea to start pulling out mechs and start pushing them forward. Fire just falls back. Keep it on the front line just to be an annoying body blocker. Tank, and of course another infantry unit. Maybe Adder could try to push it forward, start trying to put pressure on these two cities. I think it would be a good idea. Yeah, stealths can be very powerful, but that's like a submarine. It can be very powerful. I mean, to be honest, any unit can be very powerful if it does not get receive fire. It stays alive 100% of the time, but that's more or less the situation for almost most units. Infantry. Hawk has 82,000 in the field. Adder will end the turn of 100,000. So still day-to-day difference, but Hawk feels like it's a little bit behind. Adder doesn't really have a lot of mobile forces, a lot of artillery pieces here. And it looks like Hawk is going to just try to rotate and start going towards the HQ. His infantry unit's in range of capturing the HQ. Got an infantry unit in, still inside the APC. Yeah, I think Hawk should just try to eye for an HQ capture at this point in time. Adder's trying to rotate the front, try to retaliate over here. Hawk could push forward some infantry units, try to clean up these properties as well. Infantry gets dropped off by the APC. I think the reason why Adder's usually ranks so lowly because he gets compared to other COs rather than Hawk. For example, Jess, Jake, and most other COs do, like Max, has +1 movement range as well with their power and superpower. Adder just gets +1 movement range and have a cheaper power, a cost for this power. I think that's why Adder's usually gets ranked so lowly, but Hawk does not have +1 movement range, so that does make the dynamic difference between the two, plus the spamability of their powers and superpower. Fighter charges way forward, with the prime target being the battle copter nearby. He's just going to be annoying this thing. Right now, Hawk does have 20,000 versus 18. One thing that's nice about Hawk, though, is it's plus 10% firepower as day-to-day. That is actually very nice. APC does get one shot by the medium tank. Good deployment there. Since his opponent's closing distance, he can go for medium tanks and be a very successful defensive unit. I'm pretty sure I usually cast replays with, I think, both these players at least in the 1300s, if not higher. So these are both highly rated players. Hawk has a superpower available. You could wound some of his units before deploying it. This superpower is going to be very useful for wounding that medium tank. The other side to wound his battlecraft a little bit there, getting a little bit of damage on his own units there to get repaired on up. Does pop the superpower now there. Adder is 93,000 versus 110. Some of these artillery pieces are in range, like this one. This one does have range 1 infantry units. This artillery piece has range this tank, so Adder's artillery are in range, barring this 5 health one. We may see his power this turn. Gets a good strike for that artillery piece. Pops his side slip. Medium tanks on top of HQ, so there's no way he can start the capture. Plus, it gives him 4 stars defense, minus 40% health. And, of course, getting repairs. So that medium tanks are going to be a very troublesome asset for Hawk to deal with. Charges way forward. Good focus fire there. Hawk still has a good number of regular tanks in the field. Adder ends turn of 99,000. Hawk starts turn of 100,000 with 22,000 in the bank. So Hawk has a day advantage, but this can still go either way. The front line's entangled like this. It gets very messy very quick. But Hawk has a lot of mobile forces. Gets some good strikes on various units. Goes back to 1 health tank. Anti-air finish off that 2 health tank. Gets a good strike there. Lots of good hits on these tanks. Good strike there on the artillery piece. Hawk got a pretty good cleave to his opponent, but he doesn't have any hard to counter the medium tank, which will be at 8 health next turn. And right now this area's defense. In fact, if he were to try pushing forward this battle copter in this region, he could start trying to grab some properties. I think a little bit of pressure over here could be good for a Hawk. But Adder's counterattack is being very useful. Man's getting a number of kills there. Hawk is starting to disintegrate with the counterattack. Since he charged forward, both players are in range of each other. It means the counterattacks are going to be very effective. Hawk now has 5 tanks in this region. And Adder still has a good back line of artillery, and this is a defensive position for him. If Hawk pushes forward another turn, he's going to be getting shelled by the artillery again. His artillery gets a good shelling. Rocket. I think he's going to try to push these artillery pieces away. But Adder can range rockets a little bit more easily than most other COs. I find rockets are very difficult to get usage out of. I don't think the rocket's going to be very useful. It can range some of these backline units. It can try ward wing stuff. But Adder is the one CO who can deal with the long-range indirects. Not to mention, this medium tank still poses a threat. He probably should have deployed out his own medium tank or neo tank if possible. He had 3,000 funds, so he could easily afford a medium tank. Hawk starts the turn of 81,000. Adder ends the turn of 97, so still can go either way. But I think Hawk is extremely in a good position. He is going to use this mountain turn as cover. He just needs to defend this region, let the rocket do its work. Now he has to play around the rocket. Yep, he's going to encase the rocket, but all he needs to do is probably strike this infantry unit here, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If this infantry goes down, the rocket can get hit by this tank, or by this tank. Yeah, that rocket's going to be dead this turn. And takes out minimum force, and now the tank will go straight for the rocket. One shot's that as well. I didn't realize it was going one shot up, but still. What day is this? This is currently day 38. And I actually hit my stop record button earlier, so this replay would not be uploaded to YouTube. Unless I clip it of some sort with being lower quality. Oh well. Another tank deployed in the field. Tank there. Infantry. Black Wave cannot be deployed in the field. Got 73,000. The Adder starts to turn of 100 or ends of 107. Good battlecopter strike there. 15k, but yeah, it's a soft target. Easily can be ranged. Especially mobility COs like Adder. Neo tank deployed in the field, recon infantry. Pops Black Wave at the end of the turn as well. He might be getting a little bit desperate, trying to whittle his opponent down a little bit. I think the only CO that can really rely on on rockets is probably Grit and Fog of War in general. It's also one who's like casting Fog of War games more often than non-Fog of War. It gives a little bit more depth and strategy, and also allow other units that are not as useful to be a little bit more useful. Just realized something, I don't have YouTube popped up over here. I've been having issues with my chat window. Yep. Neo tank push way forward. Helicopter infantry tank. Hawk ends turn with 110,000. Adder starts turn with 79, so it's going either way. That medium tank has taken quite a bit of beating so far, but he will flip a property, even out the income. And Adder's artillery has been very effective. As much as I don't think artillery is great for Adder, he's been doing very well with it. I can always be incorrect. Artillery just generally is just very nice. Difficult to use sometimes, but when they do work, yeah, they do work. If you can make a wall, then the artillery can help break the counterattack. Reminds me of a quote from Halo Wars of all things. They will not break us, they will break upon us. What's the day limit? Day limit off. A number I cannot comprehend. Good tanks strikes here. This is Global League, if that makes any difference. Infantry, battlecopter, tank, infantry. Good strikes there. Anti-air, anti-air. Infantry. Hawk's turn. Neotank does connect with some artillery pieces. This meme tank will be at 8 health next turn, so it could be useful to put some holes in the Neotank. Plus, this Neotank can be in range of this Neotank, just needs a bit of opening there, so artillery can strike the anti-air, the Neotank can probably be finished off by the medium tank, then Neotank can strike the Neotank. I'm not sure, I think it's different per map. A lot of these rules are map set, and we've got another rocket deployed on the field. I highly disagree with rockets when you're on the offense, because it's slow reinforcements. Rockets can be useful in defense, but they should not be deployed in offense. And does put the side slip there. Does whittle down the Neotank there, and whittles it down even further. Neotank gets a good strike in Neotank, not taking a single health of damage. It's probably that 91 health though. Neotank strikes the artillery piece. Looks like nothing can take out the battlecopter. But right now, there's both a medium tank and a Neotank closing in on Hawk, and he has no adequate counter to it. He hits the resign button. The Zangrade saying, "Thank you for watching," and on to next replay. That was a very good replay. Too bad I forgot to hit the record button, or I hit the end of record button somewhere in the middle of the game, and so I won't be able to upload that on YouTube. Oh well. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a map I did not want to cast because it only lasts for 12 days. Here we go. Why is it starting with a superpower sound effect? There we go. Give me a moment to adjust the map. That seems reasonable enough. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on the top left side is the Orange Star Adder, we got Austrian Oak. So on the bottom right side is a Blue Moon Grim. We have a foreign name. This map is a Fog of War map, triple base, one airport. Got a bit of a strong side this way, and a bit of a weak side this way. In addition, there is a seaport here, but there's a shore there, so it's only meant to resupply, refuel the initial black boat. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. Adder, of course, has no day-to-day benefits, does have mobility CO powers. Grim, of course, has 30% firepower, but loses 20% defense as his day-to-day ability. And so, both sides shall punch hard and disintegrate quickly. This is usually a match where Grim loses. He does horrible versus mobility COs, while do fine versus other COs that are not mobility-based. And with Fog of War, it could go either way. Got an early Grim Recon now deployed in the field. Multiple infantry units pushing their way forward. Got a Adder Recon as well. Looks like the Recons will meet each other in glorious combat. Got another Adder Recon here, so it's going to be Reconning Rush Grim. Now have a follow-up tank to the weak side. I say a weak side, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose that side. Recon does spot the Recon. Recon does get on the city there, so the Recon construct the Recon. Or the Recon construct the Recon. Recon's also sitting on the city, while on the other side, the Recon is also sitting on the city. So I have a feeling that if the two will fight, I think the Recon will win when fighting attacking the Recon. The Recon does move on the city to keep eye on this Recon that's on top of the city. You didn't realize how important defense is until you tried out Grim? Yep. If you really want to have good times of defense, you could play a Javier and or Sturm, though Sturm is considered like top tier, so you probably won't be able to play him. But Javier can give you some nice amount of defense. Generally, defense stacking is incredibly powerful in this game. Of course, the inverse of lack of defense is also incredibly opposite. Recon does get a move on the city or the forest. He could spot it. Does get a good strike there. Receive a point of damage. Another Recon pushed forward. Grim has a lot of Recons in the field. Does get a first strike on the Recon. Grim can be a very good CO if you play almost perfectly for positioning. Grim will teach you how important positioning is. Takes on infantry unit there. Tank will take out the Grim Recon. There's Grim's Recon can get first strike from the Recon, but the tank will be there for follow-up. This Grim tank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, cannot range that forest. Grim now has a tank here to provide some fire support, so I want to creep forward to the forests. Recon gets to the forest, which could be useful to draw this tank in as bait. Let the Recon push forward, spot, tank fire, tank retaliates. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can put a tank here to retaliate, but he won't be able to move right there. I think the tank should perhaps be in range to move on top of the forest, so you can pull it back and put it back on there. This probably is a special way to play Grim. I recommend to learn that special way, watch Grim Guy. Probably the best Grim player in the game. Recon does take that one out there. Good picks there. Oh, got trapped. Looks like Grim got stuck like a step bro. Recon, artillery recon. Grim's just being hyper aggressive, and of course the artillery piece can be quite nice. Gotta be a little bit careful though, probably just keep it in forests. But then again, forests are not everywhere. The only game I know you can grow forests everywhere is Age of Wonder Planetfall, playing as the Amazons. People think Grim is a brawler, but he's not. Yeah, he's more of a... how to put it? He's one that has to get one good massive engagement, how to put. You can't take hits, you cannot brawl with him. He is an assassin? I don't know what the term is for Advanced Wars by Web. Let's get some good hits there. Many good hits. Now there's only one tank remaining. You can neuter this tank, but it's not going to go well. And Grim has follow-up tanks there, so Grim is going to make some great gains over here. He's also making decent gains over here. There's still a tank there. He only has this one tank, which could be knocked out next turn. He exposed it, so he could be knocked out next turn. A survivalist? Probably. Adder now has activated Side Slip, which is not great for Grim in general. Multiple units will come out of the Fog of War and get some first strikes. Guns down the tank there. Grim's advance up here is going to completely disintegrate. He only has infantry here. Battlecopter tank will cause massive issues up here. It needs a tank and a anti-hero up there as soon as he can. Excuse me. Or battlecopters. No, just some battlecopters are all he needs up there. Grim is also pretty good battlecopter CO. Since his battlecopters are usually alive or dead, not in between, it makes it so battlecopters get even more of the first strike. He has access to his Haymaker, but it's generally better to go for the Knuckle Duster, but goes for the Haymaker. How is this going to go? I don't see many units in range to really use it. I think this Haymaker is actually horrible. I'll take out that tank there, an infantry unit. Yeah, he should have... He's picking off infantry, not high priority threats. He should have gone for Knuckle Duster to want to use a power or superpower. I think Fog of War helps Grim somewhat. Without Adder, would see everything and get more initiation. Possibly. When it comes to Fog of War aspects, it's that at that point in time, more comes to the player intuition and ability to scout out. The COs have very little impact when it comes to Fog of War stuff, but can help them capitalize on the player himself with the scouting out. Can help really maximize effects of their CO stuff. The only, of course, CO that is good who has Fog of War attributes, of course, is Sonya, and she's one of the worst COs in the entire game. Yeah, I think it's her bad luck is why Sonya does horrible in any matchup in Fog of War. If they were to incorporate her to ignore, was it partial or fully of the defense stars of terrain like she does in Dual Strike, that may be one way to buff her, introducing that mechanic of hers. Battlecopter tank recon. Medium tanks push forward, but the battlecopter is still in the region. 18,000 versus 19,000. There's still a decent number of despicable neutral properties in the middle. Usually they're by captured by now. Battlecopter recon. So it looks like Adder's just spamming up battlecopters. Of course, Grim's reduced defense. As I mentioned, said his battlecopters are good. Adder's battlecopters would be just perfectly as almost equal as well. Howdy. Alright, Costly, can you guys let me know if my audio balance is good or bad? Because right now it just seems like my voice may be a little bit too loud from the game, based on what I can see on the audio levels. Just let me know if I need to increase something or decrease something in volume. Good strikes there. Side slip has been cast, so now he gets close from movement range. Going to try to flip some properties. Do a flip. Battlecopter tank infantry. Of course, he has enough for almost enough in the side slip. Grim's turn. Medium tank in the center of the map can range some stuff. And the anti-air as well. So it looks like there's going to be some good opportunities. Grim also has a well-placed artillery piece to move around here. I still think Grim needs a battle copter 2 up here, which this one could go either direction. Let's look at the capping infantry. There's all that infantry there. Battlecopter gets struck. To the piece takes out that unit. Takes out, or effectively knocks it out. Does have access to a Knuckle Duster. I think the chaining Knuckle Duster is generally better than going for a Haymaker. Because a 1-2 punch can be very effective, and that previous Haymaker was not very good. Grim does pull out another medium tank, maybe a little bit too slow when fighting against Adder getting some of the map. And of course, with our cast division, we see him going for a good number of battlecopters. Third strike on the ATR, leading down to 6 combined health between the two. Great, oh yeah, the lack of defense of the... Yeah, that medium tank's getting ripped apart by a battlecopters, more so. We could see a Knuckle Duster this turn. I think it'd be a good idea to go for a Knuckle Duster, help put some damage onto these battlecopters. This battlecopter's in range as well. Yeah, go straight for the Haymaker. I don't like that. Let's see now. How effective will this be versus Battlecopter? Of course. Grim could actually potentially one-shot a Battlecopter with a 4 health anti-air. Of course. Grim is the only CO who can do that. Actually, no, Kindle can as well. I always find that stupid how it's ludicrous damage, that's for sure. Yep. It certainly did. The only CO can... That's the only thing more crazy is when Kindle uses a 3 HP on mine. Yep. Because then she gets to, like, what? Was it plus 40, plus 80, or plus 130 from attacking from urban terrain? And High Society is not a bad superpower. It just gets overshadowed by excellent Urban Blight. Because you can get cold and little firepower from Kindle's superpower. See, that 4 health anti-air doesn't one-shot a battlecopter. Another side slip. Adder or Grim has a good amount of infantry over here. He can start trying to push forward. Of course, he has no scouting. Got a couple tanks there. Grim starts a turn of 104,000. Adder ends a turn of 199,900 on the field. Good strike there. T-Copter providing some spotting. Good Battlecopter strike. Medium tank does finish off the anti-air. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Another side slip. Let's see if we give him the slip. Good strike on the medium tanks. Takes the Battlecopter. Does pick off a good number of these units over here. And now with this recon the regions, able to pressure some of these infantry units nearby. Adder does have some infantry units in the forests. Anti-air will get a good strike from the Battlecopter, doesn't knock it out. That's interesting fight shot there. This 2 health battle copter could send it into that 3 health battle copter. Doesn't lose itself, almost takes it out. Recon battlecopter infantry anti-air. Adder does have now a medium tank over here. Help him quickly propose the front line. Does get a great strike there with the artillery piece, and now the battlecopter's going to rip apart that medium tank. At this current rate, Adder doesn't need a medium tank, though he can boost his poor movement speed with the course sidewinder and side slip. Overall, he's doing quite well with the battlecopter's tanks and with the artillery piece there. Does move this artillery piece into the forest. Does take out the battlecopter there. Good shots there. He does have access to another haymaker, but save it from next turn. Recon, battlecopter, artillery. Great artillery strike there on the anti-air. Though right now he only has 1 extra battlecopter back here. This 3 health one can be picked off by something. Adder's flank over here is not exactly too particularly strong at the moment. Neither is Grimm's though. Adder's flank over here is very strong compared to his opponent, but that's not saying much. Though then again, this tank heading up north will cause issue with that recon. Another recon over here, battlecopter, anti-air, infantry. We may see a haymaker. Grimm starts turn for 100,000, Adder ends turn for 113, so it's day-to-day difference at the moment. And no haymaker or knuckle duster. Of course, these artillery pieces are going to rip apart that medium tank. In fact, the back one could strike this medium tank here, then the front one could strike this medium tank. Infantry units do have 2 vision, so he does have vision of both thanks to these 2 infantry units. A Neo tank there. There's maybe time to pop side slip for that +10/+10. Got some power charge there, very nice. Takes out some of these outlying units. Takes out that tank for 1 shot. Gains a great shots there. Grimm's flank over here is disintegrating. Adder artillery being... I'm always surprised how useful it is, but that's artillery in a nutshell. Medium tank recon and infantry. Finish some of these outlying units off. Oops. So no knuckle duster nor haymaker, because right now Adder's just getting multiple good engagements. Grimm ends turn 118, Adder starts turn 119, so Adder is starting to pull ahead. Infantry, tank, and relatively passive turn. Neo tank is going to be very, very powerful. But of course, Neo tanks and medium tanks have some defense, so it's going to be ripped apart by the artillery pieces. Not too careful. Does get trapped there. Pops the haymaker in mid-turn. There's not too many units left that can move. So how is this going to go? This might... I think a knuckle duster would have been adequate, but he will take out some of these units. Helicopter does spot the tank. Helicopter's almost out of fuel as well. Tank infantry, or tank recon. Yeah, I popped the haymaker to kill off 2 units. That was not a good haymaker. I've been really disagreeing with these haymakers. Now here comes the side slip. Neo tank is at least in the forest. Medium tank strikes out the anti-air. Battlecopter goes down. Artillery finishes off that unit. Grimm's flank here has large disintegrator. He only has a neo tank, but if it charges too much forward, you'll get shelled by the artillery piece. Plus, he can't see anything. His vision range is horrible. Probably should move that recon first. Good shots there. Does get trapped there and there. Recon will get a strike there. Grimm's trying to make some grounds up here. Tank or infantry, anti-air, recon, battlecopter. According to Day value, it says it's pretty even, but feels like Adder's in a great position. I mentioned this medium tank can strike this neo tank if it gets a bit more of an opening. Lots of good strikes there. Looks like he will not be able to get the opening though. Medium tank Polgers be sent to the forest. With the fire support of the artillery piece help protect in case the neo tank tries to take a swipe at it. Good strike there. Another medium tank push down south. Knuckle Dusters now available. Artillery piece and fire support range of that medium tank. Now's the time for Knuckle Duster for the neo tank to strike the medium tank. Knuckle Duster has been popped. It's a great strike there. Sideslip is going to be available. And Grimm does cast GG there, or surrender. This and grade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Let's see now. Yep, that looks good. So, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another Advanced Wars by Web Replays. Well, on the bottom right side as the Black Hole Von Bolt, we have Fryram. Spawn on the top left side as the pink, what's this one called again? Pink Cosmos Hawk. We got Tryndamere. Tryndamere? I have no idea how to pronounce that. Either way, let's get started. This is a triple base map with one airport. There is a base here, pretty much meant for infantry and mechs to be poured out of. You can destroy the pipes and make it easier to exit out of here, but it'll be equal movement from going from this base here. Of course, this base also has a pair of force here, so it's slow going to get outside the base. There's also a number of pipe seams, so you can deploy pipe runners. You shouldn't, but you can. Got now a recon deployed out by Von Bolt and by Hawk, so both of them eyeing for a bit of a recon rush. Von Bolt has bought a tank, Hawk as well. Another recon deployed in the field. Another tank deployed in the field. Recon gets a good strike there. But this tank is going to be range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So it's going to be easy pickings for the tank, even if it's on 3-star defense property. You've got just big rounded tanks being deployed out by Hawk here. All of them being spotted by the free Black Boat. Bomb Bolt does pull an artillery piece there and does a base skip. The artillery piece ball can place onto this property and start shelling the black boat. Got tank way up there, in range of the recon. The recon pods just fall back. Both players have 14,000 income. And looks like a Hawk or a Von Bolt's trying to flip that property. Still a good number of despicable neutral property in the center, and great first strike in that tank. Infantry unit does decide to gun down that pipe for 1 point of damage. Artillery piece in range of both black boat in the pipe scene, so you can start shelling both of those. Bomb Bolt's black tank can push forward and hit this tank, and then this one can strike that 3 health one. So it's going quite well for Von Bolt, but of course got another reinforcing tank for both sides. Good strike there, decides not to counterattack that tank there, falls back the other tank. Recon trying to machine gun down that tank a little bit. Tank infantry, tank. Gets the first strike on that tank. Of course, got this tank here. We've got another reinforced tank by Von Bolt, or Hawk, 2 reinforced tanks there. So this Von Bolt tank could get a good strike on the 8 health tank. The 4 health tank could try striking the 3 health tank. Falls back both those tanks there, just get a bit of health regen going. So Von Bolt can change the tank map up north. Takes out that unit there. Tank decides to strike that tank there. We'll finish off the 4 health tank. Looks like he wants his opponent to start wasting funds on getting repair on the tank. He also has taken out his opponent's black boat. Tank, infantry, another tank. So we just got mass tanks from both sides of the boat. Great strike there from Hawk. Pops the black wave. This black wave is relatively interesting. Not only wounds everything by 1 damage, which is going to do some good work, it also does give a little bit extra healing on some of these outlying tanks. Able to change the math in these engagements. What was going to be a stalemate now very much went in his favor. A very tactical black wave, to say the least. More tanks streaming on in. Another tank, or tank infantry. 9 health tank to finish off that tank there. Of course, can be shot by now 2 tanks that are nearby. The recon does spot this tank, just don't worry about the fog of war bugginess. Tank infantry. There's a good strike there. The next tank should be able to finish it off. Von Bolt does have plus 10% defense as well as plus 10% offense. Hawk does have plus 10% offense. But generally, defense is a little bit more effectiveness and stat-wise than offense. Does not finish off there with that tank. Does get gunned down by the infantry unit. Another tank pushing down south. He's being hyper-aggressive. Got another tank here. Hawk just bringing in lines of tank doing some good damage. Von Bolt does have reinforcing tanks, but they're pretty far away. He may need to pull back some of his tanks. He has a 7 and 9 health tank to work with. Artillery now shelling down that pipe seat. Tank infantry. You pull a tank there because he's probably going to take out this pipe scene next turn. Hawk's turn. Von Bolt is 2/3 away to getting out Ex Machina. Another tank. Tank recon. Takes the pipe seam, so his tank starts streaming on forward. He's good strikes there. Finish off the tank there. Von Bolt still has a good number of healthy tanks. This is going to be 4 full health tanks. Von Bolt right now only has 2 full health tanks. Fourth one's a little bit lagging behind. It's good striking that tank there. Von Bolt almost has his Ex Machina available. It's hard to say how effective the Ex Machina is. We have to wait and see what it looks like before he pops it. It can be very good or just very meh. There's good strikes there. Von Bolt still now has a good number of tanks this region. I think as well an Ex Machina strike can allow him to get effectively a double turn versus opponent's tank force. It's likely to be balled up around tank force. I think as well Von Bolt's Black Boat's still up here, but I don't think it will draw away a Ex Machina. There's not enough nearby units to support that. Hawk's now counterattacking. Got the Ex Machina now available. Guns down that tank. The Ex Machina will likely land hitting this tank force. Oh yeah, it's going to strike right here. Striking right here will knock out 4 tanks. Could strike right here. Yeah, we'll probably strike right here, I'm guessing. Try to influence the Ex Machina. Notice the Ex Machina struck right here. It did influence, but wasn't a super powerful influence. Can't say exactly where he should have got it. Actually, no, it probably landed right here. This tank and as well as this infantry unit is probably locked down as well. You don't see it because of Fog of War. Yep, we'll probably see it next turn, seeing this one's going to repair it up and waited. Now got a Neo tank by Von Bolt, a couple more tanks there. Yep, it did strike right here, so it did knock out another tank there. We've got more Hawk tanks before the field. Black Wave could be summoned. Play Major Save for the Black Storm, which will probably get it next turn if I hazard a guess. Von Bolt's artillery is still pushing the range. Probably a good idea to get on top of that forest. Black Wave will likely be summoned next turn. Is that unit? That's a good strike there. A lot of 7 health tanks are going to be down to 5 health. Lots of good hits there. There's Black Storm available. Got 4 tanks here. 5th one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in range. Yeah, can activate Black Storm after he takes some engagements to get some health regen, or you can do it before to perhaps one-shot some stuff. Pops it immediately. So now Von Bolt's force got called by 20% minimum. Particularly the Neo tank that he has not seen yet. So we've got another tank here to push forward. Neo tank infantry. Now sees this Neo tank, puts a big bite in that artillery piece. Of course, it is now 8 health Neo tank, but still going to be pretty effective versus all of these regular tanks. Good strikes there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Tank, artillery, recon. Hawk can serve 109,000. Vulnerable starts turn of 97. Neo tank does fall back there. Recon, infantry. Wow, he didn't have a whole lot of money, did he? Had left over. Hawks, Neotanks push down south. This Neotank is at full health now. Artillery piece may strike the black boat. Infantry units push away forward over here. Tanks falling in back. Neotank creeping around the side. Infantry and battlecopter here. Recon push way forward and center. Infantry, battlecopter, infantry, recon. Go strike there in the medium or light tank. Go strike there. Tank, infantry, artillery. Good strike there. Knocks out this tank. Battlecopter will get a good strike in that tank there as well. So it looks like Von Bolt's gained some great gains to the right side of the map. Infantry or tank down to 1 health. Neo tank pushing up north here, so there's going to be easy win in order to capture the northern flank. Of course, he is going to be vulnerable to this Hawk Neo tank on the south side. He has nothing to stop the Hawk Neo tank. He does have an artillery piece here, but it's always situational for that. And Hawk does decide to surrender. Maybe a little bit too early. By the way, it's Angrade saying, "Thank you for watching," and on to the next replay. Before I get started on the next replay, I do need his restroom. Please give me 1 moment. My apologies, I am back. Let's see now. Let's see, that one's a little bit on the short side. Let's do this one. Of course, give me a moment to adjust this up here. Howdy. Starting my just getting prepped for the next replay. I think that's going to be good. May decrease the size of this a little bit. Oops. There we go, and now you guys can see the terrain marker. So it could increase the size a little bit there. There we go, that should be fine enough. Greetings everyone, and Gerd here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on the bottom side is the Brown Desert Olaf. We got EF Calcifer. So on north side as a Green Earth Max, we got Deegis. This map appears to be a triple base map with a airport in the rear as well. There's also a seaport here, but it can only support landers. Of course, it is a decent position to do a forward battleship. This map I have not casted on before. You see a city way down south. Another tank deployed out right there. Now we got a tank deployed on by both sides. Yeah, I really don't know this map. I haven't not casted once on this map. I see a lot of shores here, which means no defense stars, perfectly fine mobility for wheeled vehicles. Got a tank here. And yeah, this is a possibility of the battleship deployment spot. Of course, battleships are ridiculously expensive. HQ's off the side as well, so it could be captured by infantry unit, and there's, while it may seem there's a decent amount of choke points, the only choke points like right here, and that's pretty open. There's a decent amount of 2 and 3 to star defense terrains there. Can't say exactly sure how this go. We have 2 Olaf tanks here, so Green's tank probably should not advance. Even if it's max. Now we got a good number of Olaf tanks rotating around. The longer the game goes on, it's probably better for Olaf. Max, however, is still pretty effective. His high mobility means he can exploit and create and help wall break. Or Olaf likes the long game to apply attrition to his opponents. So we've got 2 bit different extremes with these COs. One likes the long game, one likes the short game. Got a good number of tanks on the field, starting to creep his way over here. Olaf has 18,000, Max has 19. Does interrupt that capture, or stop the capture totally. We've got 3 Max tanks here versus 3 Olafs. 4th one possibly here. Recon does get a shot. Tank battlecopter. Tank on tank. Of course, Max's tank got a pretty good retaliation. Recon gets one-shotted. And tank, Max will win that tank duel. Good shots on that infantry unit. Max takes pretty forward. Does pick off one tank and wounds the other one. We've got 2 full health Olaf tanks here. So Olaf tanks maybe one-shot those tanks. Decides to pull back the 5 health tank. Don't think he should have pulled back the 5 health tank. So I don't think these are one-shot. Yep, it will not one-shot. He could have kept that 5 health tank there. Does stop that. Does interrupt the capture. Of course, got a max force available. Gain plus, increases firepower 20 to 30%. Of course, give him plus 1 mobility range. The better part about his superpower, or his regular power. Trying to flip a prop and capture that despicable neutral. Good shot there. This tank. Of course, these sea tiles are in the way. Battlecopter's making his way down south. We do have some Olaf battlecopters. And thing as well, he can pop a blizzard and snare his opponent's battlecopters so you can get them into range and then pick them off. Takes out that tank there. Olaf almost has his own superpower available as well. Right now he's 63,000 versus 76, so max is pulling hidden value. Does not interrupt the capture there, so this guy may be at 95% health if I hazard a guess. Pops a max force. We'll finish off that tank there. Finish off that battlecopter there as well. These are great picks. You now have the Winter Fury available. Tank battlecopter infantry. Maxing some great hits here. Olaf now has his Winter Fury. Pops it immediately, of course. Takes out the... Oh, does not take out the max battlecopter. Is plus 10% defense, minus 20% effectiveness. Did save him. Finish some of these wounded units. But that defense being very good for Olaf, or for Max. Granted, 1 health battlecopter can't really do all too much other than just be annoying. Tank, infantry, and artillery. Got a good number of tanks being summoned over here. Battlecopter infantry capturing some of these properties, trying to flip them. Max does have 24,000 versus 19,000. Tank does go down there. Good shots there. Picks off the infantry unit there. Gets some good hits on this infantry unit as well. We do have another max force available. So overall, Max is doing quite good. Not getting too much global damage. He is able to get enough of a lead before the attrition damage really sets in. Some good strikes there. Knocks out the anti-air as well. He has good hits there. Of course, his tank can help win the tank duel. Olaf is making some good counterattacks up north. Artillery piece hitting up north as well. More tanks as well. Some good damage. And do now have a Max Blast available. He could try stopping or slowing down Max by popping a Winter or a Blizzard. Interior tank and infantry. We may see him, probably will see at least a Max Force. We may not see a Max Blast. Does pop the full Max Blast. Let's see how well it does. It gets plus moon range, increases firepower up to plus 40%. As well as giving plus 10/+10. Able to get the battlecopter there with 5 health. Finish off some of these units there. And some good shots there. Takes out that infantry there as well. And we do not have a Winter Fury available. Tank, infantry. We possibly could see Winter Fury this turn, but I don't see any massive engagements for him to take. Artillery piece is not in range of anything. Nothing to take out this battlecopter, so we probably won't see Winter Fury this turn. Medium tank, infantry. And now Olaf has turned 78,000, Max starts to turn 99, so he's in ever increasingly good position. Neo Tank Infantry. Max also has a staggeringly high income, 26 versus 17. Olaf's turn. We could see a Winter Fury this turn. We may see it. Medium Tank is out of range of those regular tanks. Does pop the Winter Fury. Oh. Wait, why is that at 9 health? Oh, it is at 7 health. You look, you can't see it. It is at 7 health. So a good amount of global damage there, but Max has 89,000. Olaf has only 68. Now he's at 84, so Max is still pretty far ahead. Of course, it's going to be slowed down this turn. Tank, infantry. Tank, infantry, artillery. Olaf's turn. Or Max's turn. He's right now has 115,000. Olaf ends turn for 100. So Max has a very good advantage. And of course, with every day passes, he will get a massive income lead by 9,000. He can in fact get a free battle copter each turn compared to his opponent. Neo Tank creeps his way forward, trying to get an angle onto that medium tank. Units rotating around. Anti-air will not be outrange these battle copters. And Olaf decides to surrender. This ain't great saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Probably have time for one last replay tonight. Let's see now. Oh, can't not use this replay. Let's try to find one good, very good replay. Howdy. Let's see, Sammy versus Jake. That could be interesting. Let's do this one. Let me first adjust the map or the stream. A little bit more. That should be adequate. Greetings everyone, and great here for another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So bottom right side is the Jade Sun Jake, who got Thomas Maximus. While on top left side as the, what's this, New York Eclipse, Sammy, we got Bolt Foot. Either way, let's go and get started. This is a triple base map with an airport. Additionally, I like how the HQ has a big funding sign there. Jake versus Sammy. I don't think I have a cast of replay between these two COs before. Let's see how well this goes. Jake, of course, is a plane specialist. Gets plus 10% firepower when attacking from planes. Very nice. And there's a lot of planes on this map. Sammy, of course, is the infantry specialist. More specialized in, well, infantry. A lot of properties in the map, so that can be also very useful. Looks like she may go for a bit of mech spam. We do have a mech here. Got a recon. Multiple recons pulled by Jake. He's going to try to harass Sammy's infantry. Our early artillery piece there is hard to see because of this color scheme. Ready to engage both the pipe scene and the black boat, who's not in black. Infantry units pushing way forward. Another tank to blow on the field. Gets a good strike there. Mech advancing. Of course, let's see. What was Sammy's power again? I don't know why I can't remember what Sammy's power is. It's just improves that foot soldiers get +1 movement. Probably pretty useful. And increase attack firepower from +30 +50%. Jake, of course, does have a relatively weird power of N2 power. Not gradual. Makes his planes unit go from +10 +20%. And then it gives indirect fire units +1 range. Then superpower gives his improves planes firepower from +10% to +30. Gets the +1 indirect fire range, and also gives all his ground units or all of ground vehicles +2 movement range. So he has a bit of a hodgepodge of effects. But the +1 indirect fire range is a rare effect. That's usually only other unit CO in the game is Grid, of course, that has any sort of effect like that. Or at least positive effect. So Jake is a little bit special in that aspect, but +1 range is not massive when it comes to power and superpower, but can be quite nice. Got this recon pushing up north. We'll harass this infantry unit there and finish it off there. We'll start the capture. There is a recon right here, it's hard to tell. Which can get a strike onto the recon here. Battlecopter, recon, infantry. Artillery piece will take out the black boat next turn. This artillery piece will be able to take up the pipe seam in 2 turns. It's always interesting to see how Sammy somewhat forces your, the aggro open from your opponent. Probably because she is the infantry specialist, she's great at capturing properties. So you have to be a little bit more aggressive to stop her capture. It's also hard to interrupt her because doing 5 damage against infantry unit will not interrupt her. In fact, doing 7 points of damage will generally not interrupt. No, it would interrupt. No, it does interrupt. No. 7 points of damage will not interrupt because it'll be 5 additional capture progress after 15. It's hard to remember the Sammy math. It's hard to interrupt her, so she's generally has a good amount of income, but she does get -10% firepower on her vehicles. It's not too big an issue, just somewhat of an issue. Battlecopter is still adequate for her. A number of mechs here. Anti-air, battlecopter. So quite a bit of anti-air there, which we use for against infantry. We just got a stream of Sammy mechs. You see a caterpillar Sammy mechs. So looks she's going for a bit of a mech spam. Mechs are effectively anti-everything while being countered by everything. Excellent pipe scene there. Got a number of Sammy tanks here. Pipe scene will go down next turn. There's some of these outlying units there. It does have access to a double time, so could see 3 movement range mechs next turn. We probably won't see that though. There are not enough mechs in range. Finish off that mech there. Artillery, tank, and recon. Seeing all these mechs on the field, Jake could eye for a bit more of infantry spam to deal with the mechs. And again, why don't you spam out infantry at generally any point in time? Get some good strikes there. Finish off some of these outlying infantry units. You have some Sammy tanks in range to hit some of these Jake tanks, but of course this one top of a captured property won't go too particularly great. Got Jake battlecopter here as well. Recon does go down, gunning down some of these infantry units. Of course this one's on top of 3-star property. Does take out the pipe scene. Tank pushes way forward. Battlecopter as well. Recon heading up north. Got Recon T-Copter infantry. Yep, and I think I've been having issues with sound bugs when it comes to the sound plugin, but since I switched different plugin extension, one I swap out to a different one, it seems like this one's working much better. Because I've not had a single audio issue this entire stream, which is very nice. So I think I got that solved, making it a little bit more convenient to do these casts than having bad audio. At least game audio. The audio on my side still always going to probably be a bit of a problem because I'm never good at audio. Because what sounds good to me, not necessarily the case for everybody else. Since I do like louder music and mobility sounds as opposed to my own voice, but most people actually prefer my voice to be louder for some odd reason. And again, that's more or less why they're watching my videos and streams. Jake almost has enough for Block Rock. He's more of a superpower CO. Sammy is, of course, also a superpower CO, which could be very nice relatively soon. Block Rock's now available, which I don't think is going to be too particularly useful this turn, or next turn. There's some good shots there, so this tank will retain some good vision in this region. We'll probably see a victory march next turn. Sammy just pulling back her infantry units there, eyeing up some property. Could be very nice. Because all she needs is one health infantry units to capture properties. And I also have a paranoia. You should try to keep a unit on top of the HQ just in case Sammy just comes over and captures it from 5 tiles away. You could try to play a bit of stealth mission, try to get infantry into the size force, and wait and ambush capture the HQ. Tank infantry. Battlecopter infantry. Does get trapped there. No victory march. Just needs another 300 funds to get victory march. It's very easy. Now she can bring in victory march. Let's see how it goes. Block Rock could be a good counterattack. 15,000. She's actually been pretty far behind in income this entire game, but that soon will change now. Let's see how well she does. Does spot this capturing unit there, so we'll need to remove it. 1 property tame, 2 property tame, which was a flip. Is on top of that property there. This one won't be able to range it either way. Another property flip. 3, 4. Will not be able to capture that property. That recon should not have put his turn there onto that one infantry unit. It could have removed it and then captured it. Could have got 1 extra property. But overall, very good victory march. Mech tank infantry. Now 19 versus 17,000. But she ends with her 95,000 versus 110, so Jake still has an advantage. But that can shrink, and now here comes Block Rock. Probably could have got, probably should have cast it before taking that shot, because it could have got plus 20% or plus 30% firepower, which may have one-shotted it. Plus 2 movement range is a key part of Block Rock. No boost strike there because it's not on top of planes. Oh, the plus 1 range was actually useful there. Takes out the mech. The mech's going to be shot up by the recon's going to be shot up by the mech next turn. Recon infantry anti-air. And has 5,000 bank, which leads me to believe he may eye something a little bit heavier the following turn. But would be a base skip to going for a bomber or a neo tank. Mech gets a one shot on the recon. There's a shot there in the anti-air. Jake's turn. Tank gets good strike on the tank. Anti-air will take a shot against the tank. Will not take it out, leave it at 1 health. I wonder. How close was that? Had to be a high luck roll and already being pretty wounded there, but since on top of a city is probably at 40% health. Tank does put a bit of damage on the mech. Triple tank ends her at 121,000. Same starts to turn of 79. She's pretty far behind. But starting to make some property captures there. This one will have 8 capture progress left. Did not interrupt this capture any further. So this property will be flipped, so they will have equal income relatively soon. And there's still at least one despicable neutral property here. And there may be another one somewhere. Yep, there's another one right there. So 2 properties still despicable neutrals. Got a number of tanks up here, of course, artillery piece. Tank, push right forward with artillery piece, infantry. It's a bit of fun there, so there could be a Neo or a bomber next turn. I'm always impartial towards bombers as opposed to Neos, but I can understand it's hard to take out Neo tanks to take out bombers. A lot of good damage there, a lot of good samey tanks here. Does stop that capture. Artillery piece is at 4 ammo. She does go ahead and get stuck there like a stepsister. Artillery piece is in range. And yeah, multiple of these Jake artillery pieces are in range. There's a good shot there. One's focused on the anti-air to allow more free reign for his battle copters. Very nice. Could have perhaps put on top of the planes, get booster strike there, but of course be a little bit more dangerous there. So I understand why not putting on top of there. More likely to get picked off. Good shot there. This time was a boosted strike. And I'm assuming broken pipe scene counts as planes. Because honestly, I could easily see the escape being saying, no, it's not considered planes. Got now a medium tank, recon, and artillery. So Jake invests into a medium tank rather than Neo tank nor bomber. Good strikes here, so this artillery piece will get another good strike and his battlecopter still free reign. In fact, I don't see any anti-airs by Sami. She does not. All could work. I guess it all depends on the map as well. We do have Sami almost has it ready for another victory march. This mech is getting a little bit too close to the HQ for my liking. Because I have cast a replay where Sami got a victory march onto opponent's HQ. And I said the entire game, please put something on top of the HQ, prevent the victory march from coming forward and capturing it. We do now have a victory march available, but Sami doesn't have too much infantry on the field. 3 infantry, 7 mechs. Most of the mechs are out of range for catching up properly, so this victory march won't be too particularly good. 1, 2, 3, 4. This mech cannot range the city there. This one can range this city. We've got an infantry unit here which can't range any of these cities over here. This one can range here, so perhaps 2 properties captured from the victory march. Sami has a lack of infantry units on the field. She needs to get more battlecopters to allow her to get more infantry. If that makes any poor sense. Will she pop her victory march? It won't be a good victory march. Unless, well, it would be useful boosting up a combat. This may be a time for a double time, actually, rather than victory march. I think it's better to go for double time. So let's see, how much firepower does she get for her victory march? Goes to plus 7% as opposed to plus 50% from plus 30%. I think it's time for a double time. If she casts a superpower, she may just not use it this turn entirely, which is quite understandable. Yep, she's not going to be popping either. And Jake does deploy a tank on top of the HQ. Good. Jake now has access to block rock. Don't move the tank off the HQ unless you get a replacement. And he's doing a good job focus on the mechs. He's trying to deny the victory march. Somehow, I actually do think that's a good idea. Focus on all the mechs and the other capping units just to prevent them from preventing her victory march from being useful. Neutering her like that is a possibility and a successful possibility. We do not have one anti-air by Sammy. That's a problem as well she's been having. She's been having a lack of anti-airs there, so Jake's battle card has been reigning supreme. Like I said as well, I think she should have been focusing on more getting battlecopters to get out more infantry units and keep her tanks in reserve just to focus on anti-airs. So right now, Sammy has 18 units in the field, with only 10 of which is foot soldiers, which is good. But she has 61,000 versus 161. Oh, here's the resign button. It's Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Oh, I can do one more. This one was this one. I'm gonna see which one of these is the longest and do it. This one I can't do either way because it's too old of replay. Timed out. A bit of sound bug there. Let's do the Jess and Adder. Done quite a bit of Adder games this today, but I always found Adder's not exactly the one I cast all too often. That's why I'm always sort of like to see Adder. Plus, Jess is probably a good counterpart to it. She does get +1 mobility with her power and superpower, so they do have some equal effects. You got one that's able to spam out the power, other one's able to get good vehicles. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here for another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the left side is the Purple Lightning Adder. We got Macy Boo 8. Spawn on the right side is the Teal Galaxy. We have Thomas Maximus. Teal Galaxy Jess. This map is a double base map of one one airport to span out battlecopters. So we're probably going to see more battlecopter play, right, and probably a little less infantry and or mech or tank play. I remember this map had a brutal game of Jess medium tanks against Adder Neos. I wonder if I casted that one. I'm not sure. Then again, there's a lot. There's like 20 replays completed per day, or Global League replays per day, so it's hard to say. You now have a recon and a tank developed by Jess. Adder's tank push right forward. Another tank and infantry by Jess. Another Adder tank down south. Another tank infantry, so Adder's going for mass tanks. So it's going to be tank versus tank. Recon tank. Good strike on the infantry unit there. It does strike this infantry unit there. Tank recon. Recon does go down. Tank artillery. Another recon and tank here, so we do have quite a bit of armor for both sides, just in terms of 62,000. Adder's return with 53. Got 2 recons, 4 tanks, and 1 battlecopter versus 5 tanks, 1 recon, 1 artillery. Plus, going to see battlecopter's turn. Battlecopter, anti-air infantry. Does deploy anti-air over here because the chance of a battlecopter spawning right there is likely. Just does receive 10% less firepower with a battlecopter, which is not too big of an issue. Good strike there. Of course, got just anti-air here. Capture multiple properties. Artillery pushed on top of the forest in a good firing position, but off the side, so probably not super great. Another battlecopter by Adder. Tank infantry. Jess has now 2 anti-airs up here. Neo tank by Jess. I was not expecting that. Infantry. Infantry unit does get an interrupt there. Right now, Adder has 18,000 versus 19,000. So a handful of despicable neutral properties in the middle of the map, or bottom north side, I should say. We do now have the Neo tank push way forward. Can't see the bottom screen. Oh crap! Forgot to change the camera camera stuff. Whoops! I knew I was forgetting something. Since now I'm actually adjusting these stuff individually, I forgot I can't just go in and play and go. There we go. My apologies. I completely forgot to adjust the replay at the start of the replay. As usually, I just try to keep going. I don't try to have pauses in my stream. I do now have another battlecopter tank infantry. Another Neo tank infantry. Battlecopter pushing up north. Good strike there. Battlecopter moving around. Tanks push right forward. Adder now has 122,000. Jess has 132. Artillery piece in a good position. Did get a good shot. Another battlecopter. Got triple battlecopter up here versus triple anti-air. Of course, now we've got 2 Jess Neo tanks. Neo tank push right forward. May get shelled. Does spot the artillery piece there. Just making a pretty sizable breakthrough up north. Tank does get a shot there. This is not looking for good for Adder this turn. Adder can pop out his power. T-copter. Don't think the T-copter is going to be particularly useful. Adder has now 121,000 versus Jess is 151. Does get some power charge before popping the side slip. Let's see how this goes. Good strike there. Gets put around in the tank. Or recon. Knocks out the recon there. There's not much here by Jess at the moment. So clean up some of these outlying units. We'll capture this one next turn. Tank will receive a good shot there. Down to 6 health. Make that down to 0 health. So Jess could pop a turbocharge next turn, which may be useful. There as well, there's a shore here, so the anti-airs can range these battlecopters. Battlecopter does escape there. Gets a good hit there in the infantry unit. Got a rocket here. Of all the maps, rockets may be actually a decent defensive tool. There's a mountain here and the pipe scenes. You can put the rocket on top of shore and get excellent coverage. So this may actually be a good map for rockets if you're getting over on the flank. At least you'll be able to get on top of the city. Good strike on that tank there. Pops the turbocharge. Good strike on the battlecopter. Takes out the tank there. Only thing is, putting the rocket here will make it relatively vulnerable to a battlecopter. That's about it. Not a super powerful turbocharge, but does allow her to clean up this advance right there. Rocket, of course, advance to the city. Can move to this shore next turn if needed. Battlecopter's making good progress here. Adder may just try to go for the win, go straight for the HQ, because it feels like he's doing not too particularly great this game. He's up that unit there. Flip some properties. Very nice. Or trying to flip some. He has a good amount of force here to start dogfighting the HQ. Double rocket. I understand he's not in a great position, but I don't know if double rocket's a good call. Because now he needs a front line to stop this advance. I can see a medium tank here to help defend this region, but I don't see another rocket. I think a medium tank would have been better. Here's the battlecopter. Plus now, looks like these Neotanks heading down south. There's nothing much Adder can do when these Neotanks connect. Tanks on top of the HQ can be knocked out and could start the capturing the following turn. Battlecopters will help hit it though. There's nothing you can do to really stop the battlecopters going onto this river tile other than sending an infantry unit there. But infantry units don't really like moving onto rivers all too well. And now the Neotanks have managed to collapse down south. I think Adder is going to be knocked out pretty quickly unless he somehow pulls off HQ capture. Because now these rockets they're good at defense, but he needs to get offense over here. And Adder's pulling back, which we see the stuff advancing down south. I don't think pulling back would do anything. It's not looking good for Adder. Recon gets top of the shore. Takes out some of these outlying units. Battlecopter push down south. Now got the turbocharge. These anti-airs are at least out of vision range, so Adder will get some good strikes here. Now do have a Sidewinder, but he is losing everything here. Rockets will double tap that tank, or he has now a solid grasp on defense here. Problem is, this battlecopter it can just be only needed for cracking it. Adder's not trying to push forward from Neotank. He has 101,000 versus 152. Pulling back is good. Recon spot for the rockets. That makes sense. Battlecopter as well. And artillery down here. That's how much he can only afford down there. He does have a slight income lead, but slight is the key word. It'll take about 30 turns for him to surpass his opponent at the current rate with just that income alone. Recon. Another T-copter by Jess. Jess is reforming her lines, which gives Adder some breathing room. Rockets push the way forward. Tank battlecopter. He has no idea which direction Jess is going to come from, and he's just taking time to regroup his forces. Infantry. Is she going to pull out a war tank this turn? Okay, goes for another Neo. Triple Neo is going to be quite brutal for Adder. Another 8th year. Another battlecopter, another infantry unit. Another Neo tank. And infantry, of course. Did the replay bug out? I couldn't move forward. Yeah, replay can't move forward. Yep, I think this replay bugged out. Because I can't go next turn, but it looks like Adder possibly could have resigned? I'm not sure. Bit of an anticlimactic way to end the game. Info. Day limit is off course. Yep, I think the... Mainly type in the URL. Here. Index. Yep, looks like Adder did in fact resign there. Nope, that was a bit of anticlimactic. By the way, this is Ingrate saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. And that's going to be my last replay for tonight. So everyone, thank you for watching, have a good evening, and get some good rest. Enjoy.